Welcome to Byte-Sized Tech. In today's explainer, we're diving deep into what we're calling the tech nexus.
We're going to connect the dots between some of the biggest forces shaping our future, right? We're talking the explosion in artificial intelligence, a whole new era of global power competition, and the race to commercialize space. We'll kick off with the AI boom, then look at the hardware making it all possible. We'll zoom out to the geopolitical conflict driving it, see the impact it's having on jobs, and finally, we'll look to the stars. So yeah, let's connect those dots and see how this all fits together.
All right, first up, the great AI gold rush. I mean, you've seen the headlines. It feels like there's just this incredible torrent of capital flooding into artificial intelligence, and it's reshaping entire industries almost overnight.
And with all that money flying around, the number one question on everyone's mind is a pretty simple one. Is this a genuine technological revolution, or are we just watching another massive bubble inflate?
You know, a lot of people are quick to compare this moment to the dot-com bubble, but there's a really crucial difference this time. See, back then, the boom was fueled by pure speculation on ideas that hadn't made a dime. Today, the investments are being driven by tech giants with just enormous amounts of free cash. The money is very, very real, and believe me, they are not afraid to spend it.
But just because the investors are flush with cash doesn't mean it's all smooth sailing. As one analyst put it, this is not clear blue sky. We're seeing these really complex deals that some are calling circular financing. So imagine a company like Nvidia invest in a startup, and then that startup immediately uses that cash to buy Nvidia's chips. It kind of makes you wonder, right? Is the growth really organic, or is it just some clever financial engineering?
And this revolution, like any other, is creating a new lineup of winners and losers. According to Klarna's CEO, these agile fintech companies are way better positioned to use AI than the big incumbent banks. And why is that? Well, the fintechs are built on modern technology, while a lot of legacy banks are still running on old COBOL mainframe code. We're talking a digital foundation from the 1960s. That makes it incredibly difficult to adapt and plug in these new AI tools. So if AI is the new gold, what are the picks and shovels of this gold rush? Well, it all comes down to one thing: raw computing power. And the hunger for it is so intense that companies are getting very creative to get their hands on it. Here's a perfect example of that financial engineering at play. Elon Musk's xAI is using this clever shell company, a special purpose vehicle, or SPV, to pay for its GPUs. Investors fund the SPV buys the chips, and then it rents them to xAI. What's the result? Well, xAI gets all the hardware it needs without putting a mountain of debt on its own books. Pretty slick.
But just buying chips off the shelf isn't the only move. For some, the real long-term advantage comes from building your own custom tools. It's a strategy Google pioneered with its TPU chips. And now, OpenAI is following that exact same playbook, working with Broadcom to design its very own custom silicon.
The motivation here is just pure economics. When you're buying tens of thousands of chips, designing your own can slash costs dramatically. We're talking a potential 30 to 40% reduction. At that kind of scale, that's billions of dollars in savings. That's a truly game-changing advantage.
Now, this hunger for chips and AI dominance isn't happening in some corporate vacuum. Oh no, it's unfolding on a global stage right in the middle of a fierce and escalating rivalry between the United States and China.
For any global business, that constant tension, the tariffs, the export controls, all that uncertainty has just become the cost of doing business with what one analyst flatly calls a totalitarian state. Volatility is simply the new normal.
And this quote right here, it really crystallizes the perspective that's driving U.S. strategy. The belief is that the only way to get long-term stability isn't through negotiation. It's by out-innovating China so completely that its economic leverage just disappears.
So what you have is this two-pronged approach. On one side, the government is playing defense, using things like export controls and tariffs to slow China down. And on the other side, the private sector is tasked with playing offense, building the next generation of everything, from advanced chips all the way to rare earth supply chains. And to make that offense possible, capital is the fuel. Wall Street is now directing massive amounts of money. JP Morgan alone is funneling $1.5 trillion toward these key industries. The goal is simple: let the U.S. private sector build faster, because in this race, speed is the ultimate weapon.
So what does all this nexus of technology and geopolitics, actually mean for everyday people in our jobs? Well, some tech leaders think their peers aren't being nearly honest enough about the disruption that's just around the corner.
Klarna's CEO, Sebastian Siemiatkowski, put it pretty bluntly. He said he feels a lot of his tech bros are avoiding the tough conversation. He argues that a massive fundamental shift is coming for knowledge workers, and the impact isn't theoretical. It's already measurable.
And to make his point, he gives a stark, real-world example. Just take the 8,000 professional translators working in Brussels. He argues that AI can already perform the vast majority of their work, right now. It's a really clear signal of how this technology is starting to reshape entire professions we once thought were safe. And while AI is set to rewire jobs here on Earth, another incredible race is accelerating that could completely redefine the economy above our heads.
And this isn't the early, experimental phase anymore. The commercial space sector is maturing. And it's maturing fast. You've got SpaceX as the clear leader, launching so often it's even putting its competitors' satellites into orbit. And then you have Blue Origin, gaining steady consistency with its new Shepard rocket, improving the model for space tourism.
So, the crucial point here is that this whole sector has evolved. It's not just about tourism or exploration anymore. Consistent launches are standard. It's a recognized, growing asset class for investors. It's a vital part of geopolitical strategy, and it provides absolutely critical global infrastructure, like broadband from space.
So when you tie this all together, the AI revolution, the hardware powering it, the geopolitical struggle defining it, and the new frontiers it's opening up, we're left with a final critical question. It's a question that will really define the rest of the 21st century. In this new nexus of power and technology, who gets to write the rules for our future?
That's the question we'll all be grappling with as these forces collide. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, comment, share, and subscribe.